Okay. All right. So welcome today. I'm Cynthia Glickman with the Joy Doctor from Messages from the Universe. And I have Connie with me today. She's an author, a speaker, a teacher. And I think you're also, are you a pastor, or what is you have a church too, right?
Yes. Yes, I'm an ordained minister in the Divine.
Yeah.
I started the Divine Mother Church.
Yeah.
Which is actually honors all the denominations of the Divine Mother. Well, the Divine Mother is relevant in every denomination, and she has her own name for each culture. But we honor the overall Divine Mother, the full Divine Mother, unified with all these different cultural names.
Fantastic. So I'll have you explain what that is. But before we jump into that, thank you all for showing up today. I love you all. And I think this is going to be an amazing interview. And stay till the end, because Connie's actually going to help us, assist us in closing our aura. And so we're going to actually get an opportunity to experience some of this divine light. And then she's also going to walk us through an experience with doing a breaking and go command. So yeah, so hang out till the end, because we're going to do that in a little bit here. So all right, so let's explain, what is Divine Mother? How is that related to God? What is that?
Okay. Well, Divine Mother is the unity of the Mother, Father, God principle. And at this time in our world, the mother aspect of that unified principle is coming out, because our world, our human race, needs the qualities of the mother so desperately. The qualities of love, nurturing, nourishment, tremendous creativity, the ability to birth life, to activate life. We need more life now in this world. We need a new direction of life. So the Divine Mother is coming out. She's also completely known for the depth of love she has. Everything is done with love. So all of these qualities are so needed today to bring our human family back together. We've become separated, conflicted, warring with each other, fighting within the families. So the mother is here, and she's increasing her presence. And I was fortunate enough to be connected to her during my innocent seeking, and I have been working with her for ever since then, for probably about 20 years now.
So can you explain, how did we get to that, where we are in desperate need of this mother love, nurturing energy now?
Well, the human race forgot that we are one with God, that we are expressions of God, that we are made in the image of God. And in that belief that we are separate and alone, we lost the experience, we lost the knowledge, we lost we lost her. And we started believing that we were separate, isolated, alone, and began to suffer. So it's the suffering of humanity that is actually calling the mother back, because any mother who sees her family suffering, her children suffering, rushes to help them. So that's what she is doing now. She's coming back. I want to emphasize, she's part of the Mother, Father, God unity. And it's just that this mother aspect is now emerging, coming out strong. You'll see it everywhere as the divine feminine increases its power, its activity in the world. And she's coming to unify the family. And honestly, there's an ancient knowledge that's saying the reason we lost our connection was from a mistake of the intellect. We started to believe that we were separate when we've truly never been separate, but we lost the experience of that unity.
Do you
And
think that that came from, I mean, in our modern world, we've got mainstream media that a lot of people are beginning to recognize that that's been a culprit. But so mainstream media has created this scenario where it's about, it's either about race or it's about religion, and everybody's fighting each other, and it's left and it's right, and it's almost as if they're intentionally creating this scenario to disconnect us from our God selves.
well, taking it deeper than that, the mainstream media, the people who are involved in that and who do the reporting, they also feel that disconnect. So they're really just reporting what seems to mirror their experience, what they perceive mirroring their experience. But if you take it even deeper, it's not true. We are truly all one. But the surface level, it can look like we're separate, and we can have experiences of being alone and separate. And the reason is we've lost connection to our source. And so I might as well go ahead and tell people that what
Yes,
my book is about is
yes, go for it.
bringing people back to that source by clearing the discordant energy, the negative thought forms, the negative thinking about yourself, the feelings of not being good enough, making mistakes all the time, and the self-criticism that further separate us. Now, in my work, what I do is I do energy healing, and taking the premise, which I believe is the truth, is that we are all one. We are all connected at our source. But somewhere along the way, as we've individuated, we've forgotten about that connection. The energy healing allows for this life force, of which we are all part of, to be unblocked. The reason that we think we're separate is because our life force is blocked somewhere in our system. And that blocking of the life force, obviously, it's not 100% blocked, or we wouldn't even be alive. We wouldn't even be functioning. But even 50% blocked is terrible. It's a loss of 50% of our ability to be whole. So I've developed these energy tools, and I honestly, I can't claim credit for them. I was given them by the Divine Mother, and she revealed herself to me. And in my own personal journey, I needed to use these tools to connect me to my divine self. So,
And by the way, I mean, it's chock full of, you've got 17 tools, and then you have an additional 8 specific tools. So it's really a very, it's just chock full of information, but it's also usable, applicable for anyone. So I highly recommend it, because just getting some of the information is one thing, but being able to go through it and have it on hand is really powerful.
right. And that's the point. We can talk and talk about it, but it's just in our heads. It's just an intellectual idea. But when you start to experience it, it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different vibration, if I can use that word.
Well,
so just let me finish.
okay.
We've got all these fears and pains and angers and so on, and they are actually vibrations that are circulating around in our field, that what is the auric field, and they influence us, and they prevent us from having our full capacity to solve problems, to engage in relationships, to have good health.
So is it possible that they aren't even ours then?
Oh, definitely. Well, some of them are ours,
Yeah.
and some of them are exacerbated by other people coming into our space. So I do have a tool that closes your aura, that actually lifts the vibration of your aura and makes it a beautiful buffer around you, so that you deflect the negativity that is coming from others who still don't know what, who they are, and that they are truly one with you. Otherwise they wouldn't be so agitated and upset and treating you and others in a negative way. But I just want to follow up, as these tools open up the flow of the life force, then you'll find that the relationships are smoother, the health improves, um, finances are allowed to flourish. All kinds of different things happen that support your life when you have more life energy available to you. Can I go on for a second? Because I want to tell you about.
Yeah, go for
what,
it. I'll jump in
what
with questions if you don't mind, but keep going.
yeah, please do jump in. What happens is, the negative experiences we have, the fear and the emotional pain, and even the feelings of not being good enough, somebody not liking you, criticizing you, rejecting you, we tend to collapse. Our energy implodes and doesn't expand. When the energy shuts us down, it's really literally like it puts us in a little box. And of course, if we shut down enough and we get into a smaller and smaller blocks, depression develops, because we aren't being ourselves. Who we are, these magnificent beings, very expansive with life energy, flowing through us. And we have creativity, and we have love, and we have skills to offer our friends and even the planet as a whole. But as long as we're shut down and enclosed by the fear, the negativity, the shame is a big one, um, the sense of I'm not good enough, all of this contracts us. So what these tools do is they expand you, and life force expands you. So as you connect to this, I'll use the word Shakti energy because it's a divine mother word. It's the Shakti energy, the life energy that creates everything in the universe. That is the life force that we're connecting to. And as you connect more and more, you actually feel like yourself, because you are connecting to this big S self that you are. So that's what these tools, as um as she mentioned, there are 28 of these different tools. And
Okay, it's 28 in total. Okay, yeah, there's just
total, yeah.
yeah.
18, what do we say? 18 plus 10.
Awesome.
And
So can I can I roll back a little bit? So I had two thoughts going on in my mind. Is one, how do people utilize this in their life? How do they know that they're, because I don't think that a lot of people even realize that they're operating in a compressed energy, number one. So where do they get to the point where they recognize that, number one? And number two, what is I mean, I know what the value of that is, but what is the value of that expansion? Like, what does that do for us ultimately?
Well, I want to answer your first question first. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm the second point first.
Okay.
When you're expansive, you're allowing yourself, who you are, your true self, to be expressed, to be present. It's not being inhibited. When you contract, you're inhibiting it. And why people contract is usually out of fear, or pain, or the way they were brought up. Their children are often said, don't say that, don't talk. And the child often has children are wise, and they're very observant, and they're making comments about what's going on that are really true. But adults often say, you should be seen and not heard. And what happens is children, we start to shut down, or children are releasing something, releasing some fear or pain, and they cry, and the children are told, don't cry, stop crying. Well, this is a natural release, because when you cry, you're pushing the energy out, and you're releasing what pressed you down.
Right.
So we get programmed to contract and to go into these boxes at a very young age, and we become less and less connected to our true self, our big S self, and we try to be the way the parents want us to be, or the way the teachers want us to be, or the way the culture wants us to be.
So that actually kind of answers a little bit of where I was going with that is, today, it's not really my world, because I live in a very joyful, passionate life. But I see sometimes on occasion these people on Instagram or wherever they are, and they're haters, and they're so angry, and well, if you don't get the jabberdoodle, you're not doing a good thing in the world. And it's just all of this judgment. And so I'm wondering, does it start off with being compressed into that box so much that that's the only way for them to sort of fight and get out of it?
It's the way they're trying to get out of it, for sure.
Yeah.
And anger is an explosive energy. And so once you express it, you start to feel more relaxed. It's a release, really. In fact, all those things, that the hate is a release, and it's an attempt to be bigger, but it's an unhealthy attempt, and it's a harmful.
Right. But it ends up making the energy even darker. And so now what happens is they start manifesting more negativity and more frustration and more anger. Yeah. It's so back to that expansion, part of what you're saying was so beautiful about that. But the more we do these kind of techniques and these tools that you're going to share with us at the end, it also helps us to maneuver in this third dimensional reality, right? In the physical world, then things start to manifest more easily. Financial abundance,
yes.
Better relationships.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because the reason they're not manifesting before is because we're pulling it back just with our contraction and our tightness. We're holding it back. So the tools open that up. They break through the cages that we've put ourselves in. I'm talking about energy cages. Every thought is a vibration, and if you have a lot of negative thoughts, you're creating a negativity around you, and that negativity,
in a negative bubble, right?
Yes. I mean, most sensitive people can tell if they go up to somebody and they've got a lot of, fear and resentment and anger. You just feel it. You feel their energy.
Yeah, I can't be around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it's very difficult.
So I kind of am asking the same question, but why do people need this kind of healing?
To fulfill to really rise to their highest self, to fulfill their destiny, to get on with their divine purpose.
Yeah.
Are born here because we have gifts to give. We want to share who we are and what we know. And we do know a lot. We have tremendous wisdom within us, which also gets shut down. And if it's opened up, then you start to clarify to yourself and to others what you know, and who you are starts to come out. And honestly, you are beautiful. You are made in the image of God, made in the image of the divine, and you have divine gifts to share. It's just a matter of opening it up and cleansing the pain and the fear that has held back your energy. And that's, again, what I'm offering in these books.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I mean, I just might tell you that I started my path as a meditation teacher a long time ago. And I've taught meditation for many, many years. And of course, the goal of meditation is awakening, enlightenment. And what I felt for myself at the time that it wasn't happening fast enough for me. And so I went inside and I could feel where these tensions and tightnesses were. And I asked for help in directly addressing them to clear my system. And so truly, by clearing your system, you become more self-realized. By using these tools, a long range goal is to become um, to become awakened. And that awakening starts happening because it's experiential. These tools are experiential. Awakening, enlightenment, all that, we can talk about it, but to really experience it is to live it. And that's what these tools in this book can do for you, because they work with your energy. They don't work with your belief systems. They don't work with your intellect. They work with the vibration around you and connect you to this infinite vibration, which
So,
is maintaining the universe.
so what, yeah, so one of the things that I've noticed that kind of is a challenge, and maybe you have a solution to it, is just that, like, how do people get past their own mind and their own belief systems to allow in this divine love energy that you're talking about?
Well, we've created we've been programmed, and we have patterns in our mind. And really, we want to be fresh. We want to really have authentic thoughts and authentic feelings. So one of the tools that I use to clear the old programming is called the break command. And it's in the book, and it's very simple to use.
Can we just jump in and do it? Let's do it, girl.
Okay. For sure.
Let's give everybody an experience of that. I see a couple great supporters that are on with us right now. We've got Man of Truth, Careful Carpenter, Ron Hull. So yeah, super awesome to see them hanging out with us.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So I do everything under the auspices of the Divine Mother of the universe, which is the infinite vibration of divine love in the universe. And I do that because it's safe. We can't get off on some negative track when we're working with the divine love and the Divine Mother. So I usually begin by asking Divine Mother to do the work, so that our small ego selves aren't doing it. So I call upon Divine Mother. And if I'm in a formal session, I actually call on the many names of Divine Mother, as the Mother Mary of the Christian, Mary Magdalene, from Judaism, Shekinah, from the Hindu, Mother Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga, Kali, Tara, and Kuan Yin from the Buddhist faith. I mean, there are so many names of Divine Mother. White Buffalo Calf Woman of the Native Americans. They're all referring to this power of this infinite, I want to say gorgeous, because the energy just rises like a wave out of that unbounded source to bless and to help and to guide. So I call upon that energy. And then I start doing the work. And we're talking about breaking right now old belief systems and patterns. And
do we need to close our eyes, connect to our hearts? What do we need to do?
Well, I set it up, yes, when I can do a formal thing right now where we breathe into our hearts. That's how I always start having people, after I've Actually, even before the invocation of the divine beings, I have people breathe into the heart and notice the heart area, not just the heart organ, but the whole heart energy center. And notice if there's any tension or tightness there, heaviness. And if you notice that, breathe into it. Those are blocks. Those are things disconnecting you from the divine. So breathe in, allowing the life force carried on the breath to open it up. So breathing into the heart center, connecting you. We're knocking on the door of Divine Mother. She lives in our hearts. So we're opening the heart. And then if you aren't noticing anything heavy or dense, breathe into whatever's there. Maybe it's silence. Maybe it's expansion. Maybe
Hope you
it's
guys are feeling it. You guys try it out. It's powerful.
yeah.
Good
do
stuff.
it.
I'm even feeling some expansion in my heart. So
Yeah. So breathing in, and it's allowing the divine mother to say, hey, I'm here. That's what that expansion you're noticing is. It's her. She's so accessible. So then so then in my book, I can, I teach you how to do things in the book. This is a workbook, actually. So it teaches you how to do this. So then we want to break up these structures that aren't serving us. So all we have to do is start saying, and I'll say it out loud. You can say it inside to yourself or out loud, whatever you prefer. But we say the word break. Let's call upon Divine Mother to break all structures that do not serve the truth of who I am. And then we'll say break, break, break. I call upon Divine Mother to break any thought forms, thought patterns, thought concepts, programming that are limiting and inhibiting my full expression as a being of light and love and truth.
can you repeat that? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but could you repeat that statement that I'm calling upon to
Okay.
break what patterns? I'm sorry.
Negative thought forms, thought patterns,
Yeah.
thought concepts, programming, error belief systems, negative self concepts, and anything like that is standing in the way of me recognizing the truth of who I am, my divine self. So then we start saying, and again, all this, even the words you speak are in your heart voice, not the head voice, the heart voice. And then you just start saying, break, break, break. This is called the break command. And you and the Divine Mother together are commanding these energies to break, to shatter, these vibrational frequencies that don't serve the truth of who you are. Break, break, break. Shatter, shatter, break. And then often I will do some bursting light, bursting the light, exploding the light. Burst, break, go. And then go is another divine command. Go into the light. Because they're limited intelligences that hold these patterns in place. And you tell them to go into the light. Basically, you're saying, get away from me, go into the light. But it's a blessing because you're sending them into the light. You're sending them into a place where they can transform. So go, break, and go into the light. Go into the light and keep softening. Softening is another tool, a very powerful tool that I use. It's an intention. Soften in the heart and in your throat. Soften in the third eye. Soften. I'm going a little fast because our time is limited, but
We're good. I think we're good. I'm soaking it in, girl. I hope
Great.
everyone watching soaking it in too. So
Soften at the crown, at the top of your head. Soften at the base. Soften in the pelvic area. And then in the navel, solar plexus. And then again in the heart. You probably realize we're softening in the different primary chakras. And every chakra is in charge of different organs in the body. So as we soften, for example, in the heart, not only does the heart get a boost of divine energy and expansion, the lungs and every other organ that's around the heart and in the heart chakra. Same thing with the third eye, you soften there. The brain softens, the head softens, and softening allows expansion. So this is the whole point. We want your system to expand out of these small cages, out of the constrictions. Soften in the face. People wear masks, rigid masks on their face. The expressions, don't want to let anyone know what's going on inside of me, that kind of thing. Why not? When love is going on, when knowledge is accessible, then let people know, because you have something to give. You are here to do something wonderful.
yes, you are.
So,
yes, we all are, right?
Exactly. Everyone has truly a divine purpose to fulfill. And it's something that uplifts people and the world. However, you may think, oh, it's just so simple, it's nothing. It is not nothing. It is a great thing when you connect to your passion, your purpose. So softening in the face, and then more around in your auric field around you, clearing these discordant energies, these codependent patterns. Break, 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 and go into the light. Go into the light. Break, break, break.
No.
Gestures help. Gestures can move energy. We're moving energy.
Yeah.
We're sending it into the light. Break, shatter, go. Go into the light.
Take it out.
Right. Exactly. Get it in, kick it out, and then allow the divinity of your body to glow forth. Because we
glow forth, guys. Glow forth. Yes.
I keep repeating, we are made in the image of God. That means physically, even.
So I'm sorry, you're still doing this. Okay.
Well, I just want to say, even matter is divine. It just needs to be allowed to clear itself from all the gunk that we've put in, and that the human race has misinterpreted and fallen into, I don't know, ignorance. Really, it's ignorance. We're clearing all that ignorance out of us. And as a part of the collective, we have some of it.
Do you think that more and more of the collective is waking up now, though? I mean, we're in a pretty amazing time, and more truth is being revealed.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And what's one of the primary things that's waking it up is the energy's changing. Divine light, very powerful particles of light are being poured into this planet from the central sun of the galaxy. We're getting all of this, and divine beings, great archangels, ascended masters, they're all here pouring their vibration, their divine energy into us. But another point I want to make is that we are divine beings living in a physical form. We have chosen to incarnate in a physical body to be the feet on the ground people who are really making the changes in the density here. We have a denser body, the material body, and we're here and we've lived here and we know what it's like. And and we know how desperately it needs to change and transform.
Yeah.
So all of you listening are divine beings living in a physical body. And one of my purposes, even in writing this book, is to remind you of that, because it's great to know it, but to start living it is a whole different thing. And by clearing the density, by clearing the heaviness, and the depression, the fears, the angers, and the shame, which has been foisted upon us in many different ways, just because we're human, we should be ashamed. I mean, I won't go into all of that, but you are gods. It's the destiny of the human race to become a race of gods. This is the evolutionary track that we're on. Now, it may take a while, but we're on it, and we're moving into this new stage even now. What has been called the age of Aquarius, and all of the different ancient texts that say we're moving into a new time, an age of enlightenment. But it takes work and attention, and that's what we're here to do. We're lifting the planet by lifting ourselves. So my contribution is these these tools. I keep holding up the book so you can see. It is.
You can hold it up for a moment. Divine Mother Healing, and then the subtitle is Vibrational Healing Tools for Your Body, Mind, and Spirit. And that's what we've been talking about here, is the vibrational healing. And so yeah, definitely great. It's a great book. And you had mentioned they can grab that on Amazon. And is there anywhere else they can go to get more information?
Well, you can come to my website, Balboa Press. Balboa Press carries it, and so does Barnes and Noble, and my website, which is divinemotheronline.net. And I would love to have you come there and sample some of I do a lot of classes, and many of them are free. Some of them there's a fee. But anyway, I also teach people how to communicate with the Divine Mother. And I don't know if we have time to have a taste of that, because
it's up to you, because I know you have to go into another meeting. It's about
we got time.
Okay. Can I bring one thing up though before you get to that, because it ties in. So one of the things that I stumbled on in your book was a really powerful statement from the Bible. And I don't know, I can't quote scriptures, but the one thing that I do know that's always come to me is the kingdom of heaven is within.
Right.
And you talked about that in your book, that was part of what you were trying to discover, is like, well, what does that mean then? And trying to find that within yourself, right?
Yes.
So I've always believed that if the kingdom of heaven's within us, then we're all part of God. So we are a God in a sense, not the God maybe, but
right.
But yeah, and I really believe it's about us embracing that divinity of who we are as well. So
definitely, that's one of my primary themes. I want people to realize that they are divine. Do you want me to give a little quick bio?
Yes.
I can tell you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And my the first 40 pages of this book tells what my spiritual journey has been, and how I uncovered these tools. So I'll just give that little story in a nutshell. So I basically became an atheist at age 18. I had a formal discussion with God saying, if you exist, prove it to me, because I don't see it and I don't feel it. And this churchy stuff doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, it's going to be, I basically said, okay, it's up to you, God. I'm just going to go enjoy my life. And if you exist, show me. So it was just about the time I was going to college, and I went to college and had a wonderful time, and, did what the college students did and partied a lot, and got to know, lots of different people. And uh, one day I was lying down in a field looking up at the sky, and I'd always been an astronomy buff, and I knew there were constellations out there, but I couldn't see them because it was daylight. But I said, I know they're there. And I started to try to look for them, even though it was bright sun out. And as I looked, it's like I projected myself out into the universe. And suddenly I had this undeniable experience that I was one with everything. It was like, and it can't be even explained by the intellect or
Yeah, you have to feel it.
you
Yeah.
have to, and I'm sure enough of you have had that experience that you know what I'm talking about, that I'm just connected to everything. And this was like, I am everything. I'm even, and there was a friend with me, and when I came back and realized, oh, I'm lying in a field in a physical body, um, I said, to him immediately, I'm one with you, but I'm not only one with you, I'm one with the trees, I'm one with the stars, and I'm even one with the space between us. And he did not get it. He looked at me kind of bewildered, and I thought, I don't need to try to explain this because it was such an overpowering experience. I
Uh-huh.
didn't want to give it words at that time. And it set me on a quest to find out if there was anybody else in the world who was having this experience. This was back in the late 60s, I believe it was 69.
I
And
think people were having that experience with LSD, but
that's right. Well, in fact,
right?
when I told people about the experience, they said, "Oh, you're on a drug, or you need to go see a psychiatrist." so so anyway, I
Isn't that
tried
crazy?
both,
Like that's what they
and
thought.
neither
Is you
one of
must be
them.
crazy.
What was that?
Well, I mean, it's funny now, but back then, I'm sure that wasn't funny. That people thought you were crazy, and
Yeah,
to me, it's just such a
exactly,
normal.
exactly.
Yeah.
They thought I was really off, way off. Anyway, so I stopped talking about it, and
Yeah.
I started talking about it as an experience. I said, not as an experience. It was my experience, but I started talking about it as a theory, because academia could handle a theory, and I was in college, so I had this theory that we're all one. And I wasn't saying, and I know it's true because I'm experiencing it, but um, and then they would tell me, oh, well, you should read this philosopher, and you should read this philosopher, because they believe that too. And I, of course, eagerly read all of them. My only issue was they were all dead, and I needed to talk to somebody who was living it, because that was what was happening. I was like living it, and it totally had changed my reality. But I didn't, I couldn't explain it to anyone, or they because they all thought I was crazy if I explained it. And so I went on, and I kept talking about it as a theory. And back then there were things like the encounter groups, the whole culture of the it's like, inward, looking inward. I can't the self-help kind of culture was developing. And anyway, so I went to all of those meetings. I went to ashrams, seeking somebody who was having the experience, and I really didn't find anyone. And but finally someone told me, you need to meditate. They talk about this in meditation, that you meditate to a state where you feel like all is one. And so immediately I found a meditation, and it happened to be TM, Transcendental Meditation, which was very, very big and growing at that time. And so again, I went to the meetings, I learned the technique, and it was a beautiful method. I still honor and value it deeply, but I still didn't meet anyone having the experience until they talked about something called cosmic consciousness on the last night, that if you meditate enough, you can reach this state of cosmic consciousness. And I thought, oh, that's what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
so, so, so I said, do you know anybody else experiencing it? And they said, yes, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the founder. So I took me about a year to get it together so that I could go meet him. But when I did meet him, what I wanted to do was give him my oneness test, which I had developed, where the oneness test was, and it sounds silly now because people are doing this all the time, but back then it was like, I didn't know anyone doing this. So I developed the oneness test where I would gaze into somebody's eyes and hold their gaze. And I felt like if they could gaze back at me, we would meet in the experience of this unity, of this oneness. But my problem was nobody could hold the gaze.
Well, that's the right. Like most people shy away from that because if they go into it, they're actually you feel the love.
Yeah, you kind of go into I want to say altered state, but an altered state. It's truly a natural state.
Right. But why
You
are
go into
people
the
afraid of
natural
that?
state.
Right? People deflect and they look away. They can't hold that space most times.
I think it's because it's looking at themselves and they're so used to hiding themselves.
It's like they're naked, right? There's
exactly like
their soul becomes naked, and so it's scary, it's fearful.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
And we're not used to being seen that deeply. So but when you have this, you don't care about, you're happy to be seen because you've connected to what's
That's
the most
awesome.
wonderful thing about you.
How to get naked without even having to take your clothes off.
I like that. Beautiful. So anyway, I finally went and I had an opportunity to sit with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and look him in the eyes, and way deep. He was definitely holding my gaze. In fact, I just fell into his gaze. He had it deeper than I had ever imagined. I wasn't there to his level yet. But I thought, okay, here's somebody who can teach me. And so I signed on with him and I became a teacher of transcendental meditation and did teach full time for many, many years, taught many people how to meditate until and it was until I started thinking, I want to meet God. I want to find this kingdom of heaven that all these wise ones are saying lie within me. And because I had already learned how to go within, I wasn't seeing angels. I wasn't having all these flashy experiences that some people talk about. I was just settled in that silent space. And I knew how to do that, but I wanted to really basically shake hands with God and say, nice to meet you. Now I have a few questions to ask. Can you please answer them for me?
Yeah.
And so by that time I was married, I had a child. And when she would take a nap every day, I would go into my room and I would do what I called my heaven research. And I would close my eyes and open, and I would say, okay, show me the kingdom of heaven. It was not meditation, but I was settling deep within because I knew what meditation was. I was looking for the kingdom of heaven. And so where there was action, there was divine action there. And I wanted to participate in that divine action, but I first had to find it. So I would do this for I did it for weeks, maybe even months, and nothing happened. It was just like blank wall, nothing. Um, I would even call on Jesus and, and say, "You talked about it. That phrase is from Jesus. The kingdom
Yeah.
of heaven is within you."
Oh, I had an amazing experience with that too.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, but this is about
So,
you. So
well, I'd love to hear
I'll
this
tell
one.
about that another time.
Anyway, so one day as I was sitting there, having gone through all kinds of boredom and angry at Jesus, "You said it was here. Show me, where is it?" Um, I saw this little sparkle of light, and I thought, "Whoa, something's happening finally." So I watched the light as it moved, and I got the distinct impression it was communicating with me. It was showing me how it could burst into a million particles, or it could be a beam of light, or it could be a soft glow. Light was sharing itself with me, and it made me feel wonderful. I was really feeling like this is how I want to feel all the time. And so every day after that, I started calling on the light. And then I started creating what I called a prayer, which is one of my tools. It was the first tool that I ever
I was
developed.
going to ask, is there a tool for people to get there more quickly without having to face the struggle that you did?
Yes. Oh yeah. That's why I'm writing the book, so that you can get there quickly.
Yeah.
Not I can, I mean, even already by breathing into the heart, and you're noticing the expansion the way you did, that's there.
Yeah.
That kingdom
Yeah.
of heaven is like infinite. So just a little expansion is giving you a taste of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, to make this long story short, how are we doing on our time?
I think we've got about 7 minutes.
Oh, okay. Um, okay. Um, the so that became my first healing tool. I practiced it on whenever I wasn't feeling good. I would say divine light is pouring into me, more divine light is filling me, and it would change. At the time I didn't realize it, but it's changing my energy.
So it's divine light is just saying that, but because you can feel it, right? Just by
And just
saying.
when you say divine light is filling me now, it actually does fill you. Just like when you say a negative thing about yourself, "I'm stupid." There's a stupid energy that gets activated in your system that'll start to hold you down. So don't say those things.
Yeah.
But if you say divine light is filling me, divine mother is here, mostly I would be divine light is divine mother. She is all those divine qualities. Anyway, um, it works. It's wonderful. And I use it along with, now I have a whole regiment. I have divine love, I have divine truth, and they are all different vibrations that are um, that are divine, that remind us that we are um, divine people made in the image of God. Or you could even say God's in training until we fully recognize it.
Yeah.
So that started me, and then it really took off. Um, I met Divine Mother by having this experience of watching how this unmanifest field manifests into form, and this one, and it what my perception of it was that it rises up like a wave of light, and then it breaks into two pieces, and those two pieces break into to two more pieces, and then they start interacting with each other, and they start creating. And it was this magnificent image I was perceiving within myself. And at one point I said, "Who are you?" to this wave of light. And what I heard distinctly was, "I am the divine mother. I am birthing the universe." And it was this wonderful, then she demonstrated to me how all these different waves of light would create flows, and that they were all made of particles, and the particles created these the atoms, which then create the cells, and we get our physical human form. And it was a divine masterpiece. The way the creation is created, and all the complication and the uniqueness and intricacies, and this divine mother is creating it all. So I decided to sign on with Divine Mother, and I've been working with her ever since.
So
And I've learned how to communicate with her. And oh my gosh, we are going to have to go soon.
that's what I was going to say. Let's maybe Divine Mother like something to bring forth that's highest and most useful to everyone at this time.
Okay, yes. So again, let's breathe into our hearts. The divine nectar is pouring into us. The divine love is pouring into us. And I want to give you a taste of Divine Mother. So just say inside with your heart voice, Divine Mother, come forth. And then soften. And then notice this. Just notice what happens. Stay. And if you don't notice anything, say again, Divine Mother, come forth. And you might notice, people often notice a warmth or an expansion. And then say, are you Divine Mother? Whatever you notice. It might be a light. It could be a physical flow of energy. Are you Divine Mother? And notice what the energy does. Because the energy can communicate. Most simply, if you notice something that is like expansion or lifting or deepening, something getting bigger, that's a yes. And if it closes down or shuts down or stays the same, that's not her. She's a moving, flowing energy, a lively energy. So keep asking for Divine Mother. And I've learned how to communicate her energy signals into words, how to translate them. And she's saying, I love you. I am the Divine Mother. I come in the name of truth. You are my children. And I adore you. I want to teach you everything I know. Call upon me often. Let me heal you. Let me show you the truth of who you are. I am with you forever. Thank you, thank you. And it's beautiful to be a vehicle for her to come through. It's very
yes,
sublime, sublime,
it's
really.
sublime. That's a beautiful yes.
Yeah.
Word for it.
So I am going to have to go because I have a prior appointment here, but thank you.
Thank you. It's awesome.
And I want to invite people to purchase the book. I kept it very low price. So and if somebody can't afford it, I have 10 of the tools on my website you can download for free. Come to my website, divinemotheronline.net.
divinemotheronline.net. And I'll put that in the description too.
Thank you. And I have a YouTube channel. It's Divine Mother Online. No glasses.
That's okay. I'll link that as well.
And on the YouTube channel, I demonstrate all the tools.
I love it.
You can learn about them, or just Connie Huebner. You can Google Connie Huebner.
Okay.
Anyway, I've got to get on. It's a pleasure being here. I really thank you so much for inviting me to be on. And love to you all.
Thank you. Everyone have a beautiful day.